Radhe Krishna, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. Welcome to the Thirukkolur Penpillai Rahasyam Bhakti episode number 36. If we see the elements of nature around us, one of the beautiful attributes displayed by each of them is that of neutrality. The sun shines for everyone. It rains for everyone. The wind blows for the benefit of everyone, irrespective of whether the person is a human or a non-human, or even within humans, there is no discrimination as regards caste, creed, race, or religion. Similarly, the ultimate creator or the supreme Lord also blesses everyone without any distinction. If we see the last 2 or 3 episodes of Thirukkolur Penpillai Rahasyam, the Lord has showered His blessings equally on non-human forms like Adisesha, who is the form of a snake, the Garuda, who is the form of an eagle, or He blesses a ghost, which we saw in the Nampaduan episode. Or if we take the last episode about Ratnakar, it was the Lord showering His blessings on a dreaded criminal, and with His blessings transforming him into sage Valmiki. So today we are again going to see one such story where a person is a great devotee, yet because of some circumstances he falls from his path of devotion, and yet again because of the Lord's blessings he is elevated back to his devotional path. So this is the person with whom Thirukkolur Penpillai is benchmarking herself. This person is an Alwar, a Vishnu saint, and Thirukkolur Penpillai is making this statement: did I offer 2 garlands to the Lord like Tondaradippodi Alwar? So the name is a bit long, Tondaradippodi Alwar. So we will see the story about him. Now, this Azhwar was born as Vipra Narayan. Now, Vipra Narayan was well versed with the Vedic studies. Once he completed his Vedic studies, he researched into the life histories of the other Azhwars who had come before him, who had taken birth before him, in order to pursue a specific path of devotion. After his research into the life histories and the various Puranas, he felt that offering garlands to the Lord or garlanding service was one of the easiest and the best form of devotion. So he started offering flower garlands to the Lord Ranganatha of Sri Rangam. Here Lord Ranganatha needs some explanation, as he is one of the ancient forms of Lord Vishnu. Even in Ramayana there is a scene where Lord Rama actually worships Lord Ranganatha. So Ramayana was an event which happened in the Treta Yuga, which is easily around 8 lakh years before. So Lord Ranganatha is such an ancient and a powerful form of Lord Vishnu. So Vipra Narayan, he dedicated himself to the service of the Lord. He went to this place. This is a holy town in Tamil Nadu called Sri Rangam, where Vipra Narayan actually had a garden, a flower garden, and from that garden he started making various garlands and offering it to the Lord. In fact, his garden was so beautiful that people who passed by had to stop, had to admire the beauty of that garden and then carry on. It's not only the beauty of the flowers as well as the greenery which attracted them. It was Narayan's Bhakti or devotion which enhanced the beauty of this place. Now things were going on for a while. At one point there was a court dancer by the name Devadevi who passed by that place along with her friend. As normal people would stop to admire the garden, she was also astonished by this beauty, and she just strayed into the garden just to see the flowers and the greenery around her and to experience it. Now, Narayan was so devoted, was so engrossed in his devotion that he failed to take notice of Devadevi and her friend. He was as usual plucking flowers, he was chanting the names of Lord Ranganatha, and he was busy with his service. Now, Devadevi couldn't take this lightly because she was very proud of her beauty. So it was very difficult for her to accept that someone was not paying heed to her beauty. So she came out and asked her friend who was accompanying her as to who this person was who was not at all paying heed to her. Her friend replied that he was a great devotee by the name Narayan and told Devadevi about his devotion and his service to the Lord, and that he would never bow down to a human beauty. Devadevi's ego was hurt and she challenged her friend that if within a time span of say 3 to 6 months, if she didn't make Narayan bow down to her beauty, she would become a slave to her friend. So the challenge was accepted, nothing was to be lost. So it so happened that Devadevi dressed in a very ordinary attire and she reaches the hermitage of Narayan. So she introduces herself as a devotee of the Lord, and if he could accommodate her in his garden, she could also be of much help to him in doing the service to the Lord. Narayan felt that he was helping a fellow devotee. He didn't have any evil intentions in his heart. So he gave a place to her in the garden, and he was in his hermitage carrying on his duties. Devadevi in many instances tried to trap him with her beauty, but she was not successful as Narayan's mind was engaged in the Lord. She finally got an opportunity when it was a rainy evening and she was drenched, so she just rushed into the hermitage and asked Narayan if he could help her with some old clothing. Narayan, till that point in time, he was engaged in the Lord and he offered some old clothing to her. At this point in time, finally, Devadevi managed to trap him with his beauty, and Narayan unfortunately fell to lust. Now, it so happens that over a period of time, Narayan starts failing in his devotional duties. His mind is so attached to lust and towards Devadevi that he even stops offering his flower garlands and his mind is just centered around Devadevi. Now, how could such a great devotee who had his mind always focused in the Lord, he could fall down to lust? The answer lies in Bhagavad Gita, where the Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, a particular stanza, Daivi Hesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya Mameva Ye Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. He says that the energy called Maya is so powerful that it can lead people astray. So, can't anybody conquer Maya? Yes, one who has his or her mind steadfast in Lord Krishna's devotion and meditation, they are able to see through this Maya and escape it. Now, it does seem from Vipranarayan's story that he was in the learning path, and there could have been some element of pride in his mind which could have led him to fall from the devotional state. Also, it would have been the Lord's plan to highlight to the world that even these circumstances are possible, where a person falls down from the path of devotion, but then he or she can equally get going in the same path. There may be a temporary dip, but then it is equally restated with equal or more vigor. Coming back to Vipranarayan's story, he is now totally trapped by Devadevi, and leaving his hermitage, he starts staying at Devadevi's place. Now, Devadevi knows that Vipranarayan is bereft of any money, any wealth, so she starts ignoring him. At one point, she insults him so much that she doesn't even allow him to enter her house. And Vipranarayan, mad with lust, he waits outside Devadevi's place. This continues for some time, to the extent that Lord Ranganatha feels that he is not getting the garlanding service, he is missing those services of Vipranarayan. That is when he hatches a plan. He assumes a human form and, taking a gold bowl from the temple, Srirangam temple, he heads straight to Devadevi's house. When he sees that Vipranarayan is not focusing his attention towards the house, he quickly sneaks in and introduces himself as a disciple of Vipranarayan and hands over the golden bowl to Devadevi. Devadevi is elated, and she is a woman whose mind was centered around wealth. So once she got this gold, she immediately let Vipranarayan in. Now, the next day, when the priests in the temple find that the golden bowl is missing, they go and complain to the ruler of that place. The ruler sends his soldiers to find the missing bowl, and after tracing for a while, they manage to find this bowl in Devadevi's house. So they arrest her, but Devadevi is very clear that she didn't go and take the bowl from the temple, but it was given by Vipranarayan's disciple. This puts Vipranarayan in a spot, and the soldiers arrest him and take him to the king. Now, the king has this conversation with Vipranarayan that his disciple only gave this, so it should have come from him. He should have instructed his disciple to steal. So he puts him behind the bars. In the prison, that is when the good senses come back to Vipranarayan, and he starts thinking, he starts realizing his folly. Oh, where I have fallen, from what state. And he fervently prays to the Lord to forgive him. He realizes that he would have had some iota in his wisdom, in his knowledge, that he fell down from this path. With his fervent prayer, Lord Ranganatha accedes, and he comes in the dream of the king, and he narrates the entire incident to him, that it was he, the Lord himself, who came as in the disguise of Vipra's disciple, and he narrated the story or the incident which led to he assuming the form and stealing the golden bowl and putting it in Devadevi's house. The king immediately releases Vipranarayan, explaining him about the dream which he had. Vipranarayan feels ashamed that in spite of being in this situation, the Lord did not leave him. He did not abandon him. So Vipranarayan's bhakti grows manifold. Then he feels that he should change his name from Vipranarayan to Tondaradippodi Alwar, which means he accepts himself as the disciple of the disciples of the Lord. So he says, I am nowhere close to the Lord, but at least in my heart I am closer to the devotees or the disciples of the Lord. So I am below the Lord's disciples and devotees. So with all this he prays for all this humility, and with that he starts or restarts his devotional service. Here now with the, let us call Vipranarayan part 2, version 2.0, he is now having increased devotion, and having seen that circumstance where he has gone astray, he pledges not to fall to any of the traps going ahead. And with that, with the renewed energy and vigor, along with the flower garlands, he also offers new garlands in the form of poems. So those are the poetic garlands, and these poems form a part of the Nalayar Divya Prabandham, which is the collection of 4,000 divine songs or divine poems of the 12 Azhwars. So his work is very important in that divine literature. So here what we learn from Vipranarayan or Tondaradippodi Alwar is that the lust is a very common enemy. It is present and it affects everyone irrespective of age, caste, creed or religion. It also doesn't discriminate, and it is very difficult to overcome. But as we saw, there is the Lord Krishna's prescription in the Bhagavad Gita that one who are dedicated or devoted to him, their minds are placed on Lord Krishna, they are able to cross this Maya Shakti, and thereby they are able to conquer the lust. So lust is something which actually it is a thief, because it steals a precious gem within us called wisdom and knowledge. So this is one great example where even persons pursuing a noble path or a devotional path can fall down. They are not without folly, but with the right practice, with the right attitude of mind, they are able to get elevated even to a higher level. So this is what Thirukkolur Penpillai benchmarks. She feels that Tondaradippodi Alwar, after all these incidents in his life, he was back at the level where instead of one flower garland, he was able to offer a flower garland as well as a poetic garland. So 2 garlands he offered to the god, and she feels that she is no way up to that mark where she could offer such great services to the Lord. So that's all from our Bhakti Rahasyam episode number 36, where the key learning for us is to try and conquer lust as we progress in life. That will help us to move ahead, progress in our spiritual path. So stay devoted, stay blessed, and stay tuned for our next Bhakti Rahasyam. Radhe Krishna, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha.